So we have the April 15th meeting of the Conservation Commission. We're going to stand and salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so first hearing tonight is going to be Westport Landing Commission, RDA 0 Hicksbridge Road, widen the existing entrance ramp at the Hicksbridge Landing. Anybody here for that?
Jeff.
Come on up, Jeff. Yeah, please. Thank you.
The silver magnets are the best.
You can stand right at the microphone so they can hear you on TV. They should have people watching. And just describe the project for us, Jeff, if you could.
I brought my pointer.
Oh, that's fine. You can do that too. Whatever you want.
I am the chair of the Landing Commission. This is a project with the Select Board because the property is actually partially owned by the Select Board, partially by the Landing Commission. As you're aware, the old exit that was used is on property not owned by the town or the Landing Commission, and the property owners were not willing to negotiate a price for continued use of that. So we had to come up with an alternate plan. As we have studied the alternate plan, because I know there's a concern about public safety, it's actually safer. It's hard to understand clearly, but if you look at what the old plan, the old exit was here, and it doesn't show well, but the distance from the line of sight from cars turning here to the old exit was 272 feet. So it was still a problem. The line of sight from here, pulling occasionally into the wrong lane as they go east, is 440 feet. Random people will be coming downhill, it would be an issue, but we feel like it's easily as safe as what we have been doing. What we're proposing at the moment will be done at a saving of over $100,000 to the town because the highway department can do it, and we will get a chance to kind of review the performance before we go on to the major project, which is maybe 3 years away, maybe never if we can't get grant funding. So again, the plan is to use what's currently, or was just an entrance, but was used last year as an entrance, as an exit without accident. We're going to widen that, improve the lines of sight, move the barrier further east. That's the plan. The pipe, the drainage pipe that goes under there will be extended, and we'll get a chance to look at all of this again when we go back to you fairly soon for the major project to redo the entire landing, because we're going to start the permitting process on that soon.
All right, Chris?
Mr. Chairman, members, Westport Landing Commission, this is the Hicksbridge Landing, request for determination of applicability. Report date is April 7th, 2025. Site visit was also on April 7th, 2025. The town has submitted a request for determination to have the highway department widen the existing entrance of Hicksbridge Road to accommodate 2 lanes. The work will require excavating and removing approximately 10 foot of material. The guardrail will need to be removed temporarily to allow the work. The entrance access is in need of the increase as the other entrance is on the Mason's land, and as Jeff mentioned, are not willing to negotiate for a permanent lease or use of that area. Recommendations: erosion controls will be installed on the lower side of the entrance. Grading and seeding of the area immediately after completion will be conditioned to stabilize and prevent any erosion. This is a riverfront buffer zone and flood zone area. Recommendations: Westport Conservation Commission should approve the widening of the Hicksbridge Landing with a negative box 2 determination, with the condition that erosion controls be installed and maintained till the area is stabilized and seeded. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right. So Jeff, I mean, it meets our regulations, I mean, just from a usability standpoint, not that it has anything to do with conservation, but how do you, I mean, you're gonna stop parking on the one side so you can make the swing with your trailer to turn around? I mean, when you come out of the ramp, how are you gonna make it up the exit? It's because sometimes where people park in there, you don't have room to maneuver. Well, that's what I've noticed. Just out of curiosity.
Again, that would be part of the entire review
Okay.
process. But there will be reduced parking here, partially because of this, but it was inevitable.
No, I
There
get
will
that.
not be as many
Yeah.
trailer spaces. But this area here will all be striped, and you will lose like 1 or 2 trailer spaces here, and that area will be striped, so, you know, so that you come out realistically, you're gonna have to come, do a turn and go. You're probably, if someone's parked there, you might, it depends on when you come out of the water, and where the ADA ramps are and stuff.
Yeah, all right. Do you have any questions on what Chris, his report?
I'm as clear about it as I have the ability, but I'm sure the highway department will be clear because this is what they do. This is not
Yeah.
what I do.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions for Jeff while you're here?
Well, the audience, I have some questions, but I figure we'll give the audience a shot first.
Yeah,
So whose opinion is it that these lines of sight are safer? Is that like a traffic study done, public safety opinion? Who came up with that?
Well, I personally measured it, and we spoke with our engineer about it, and the planning commission met this afternoon and approved going ahead with this.
All right. I've been in the boat business since 1995, and I use that ramp a lot. And I don't see any way possible, and I went down there 3 times this week. There's no way possible to pull a boat out of that water, off the ramp, and somehow maneuver some kind of U-turn while you've got usually trucks and trailers on both sides. There's no room to make that swing. And even if you have the room, it's gonna have to require the collaboration of just about every user that's there on a Sunday afternoon, for example.
Yep.
No one can move until this guy goes and that guy, and we already have the police there a couple times a year without this debacle. I don't see any way possible for it to work. And also, with a steep gradient on the east side, so as you're leaving the ramp, it'll be on your right.
That's your,
So as you're leaving the ramp, taking a right. I live on Pine Hill Road, so when I come out, I take a right.
yep.
So it's so steep. How much material are you bringing in? Because there's a utility pole that's got to be moved. The guardrail's got to be moved, and I mean it's going to be thousands of cubic yards of material to build up the grade to widen the driveway. It drops right off. It's steep.
My understanding from the highway department, looking at the amount we're intending to widen the driveway at this point, is that he has the material in stock. There'll be no cost to the town. And I know the long-term plan is to dramatically raise the grade of the boat ramp and this entire area, so the water will be shunted off into treatment on these sides, because part of the plan, the larger thing, and now we're talking about the plan and not just the exit.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be
All right.
talking about
Well,
it's just, it's up.
All right, but
It comes at that point.
has the highway department really looked at it, or is this in like the preliminary phase? Because it's going to require hundreds of cubic yards of material. I was there 3 times this
I
week.
appreciate your expertise. It's beyond mine.
All right, so when let's assume we can make that swing, and then we go up onto Hicksbridge Road. When you pull out, again, I was visualizing me hauling a boat, and I'm on the Concom, but I'm also a concerned citizen because
I
I,
appreciate
right?
that, yeah.
Yeah, and so when you come out, the way it was all last summer, you had no choice but to go into oncoming traffic to make the swing.
Yep.
All right, so let's assume we widen the road a little bit, and it's
Exit or the road?
the exit, right? It might get better, but it's still gonna be impossible to make that swing without at some point going into oncoming traffic. And I stayed there for a few minutes, waiting for cars to come over the crest coming down, and that's why I questioned the line of sight, safety thing. You don't have enough, they don't see you and you don't see them soon enough to avoid a collision. When you're coming out and they're coming down and you've got a boat behind you, we're gonna have a situation where someone with a truck is gonna be in the westbound traffic lane, and we're gonna have that on. And then we're gonna have a police situation where you've got, a guy with a boat in the other lane, and then who gets cited. It's gonna be a public safety thing. So there's a lot of things to look into, and I don't think that enough effort was made with the Masonic Lodge to put this issue. There's gotta be a mechanism where we can work something out with these people. There has to be. It worked fine for a long, long time, and they don't have any plans to use that land. I think more effort to resolve the issue would be a great place to start versus this plan here. That plan's not gonna work.
Appreciate your concern, we're talking about
All right.
the
Okay.
plan and not just the exit. I know it's not ideal. And the Masons have been very clear for a number of reasons, but probably not appropriate to speak about this meeting.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments?
Just
All right.
a quick question on this. Are you losing spots in the entire lot because of not having that, obviously upper level and all that? Are there going to be less parking spots,
Oh, yeah.
available spots? So is it all permitted parking there, or is it a mix of, can you have a trailer and no trailer? Or what are the rules of that landing for parking?
The rules will be up to the select board to figure out. I expect that there is some car-only parking. We are expecting to open up parking on the other side of Hicksbridge to help with the fact that we're losing, but those will be car-only parking. And again, the select board may decide to allow cars to park in trailer spaces if they park each other in. But that's really, again, down the road.
All right. Anything else?
It's not a situation, but what we have now is very dangerous.
Right.
And there isn't a clear alternative to this beyond, if you want to join the Masons and have a vote there.
All right. Any other questions? If not, a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue this 2 weeks so that we can hopefully sort some things out and seek some public safety opinions and maybe an opinion from the highway department. Just a 2-week continuance would give us some time to sort some things out.
That's not, well, you guys can do whatever you want, but that's not really in our purview.
But
Our
if
purview
we-
is not public
All right,
safety.
but if we vote it in, all right, so if we vote it down and it gets appealed, DEP doesn't care about traffic
No.
schemes, and, right?
No.
So if we vote it down, then it gets appealed and DEP overrules us, which they probably will,
Correct.
then we get a situation that is irreversible that we're gonna be stuck with.
Well, it's
If
gonna
we
be,
continue it 2 weeks.
it's gonna be
then-
it'll be the same as last year, maybe a little better.
Well,
But, I know what you're saying, but
Yeah.
it's not in our purview to talk about public safety. We ask those questions, we can ask them, but it's not really to make a judgment on public safety. It's a judgment on if it meets the state's requirements or the town requirements, and that's really what we're supposed to be voting on.
Right, our
And-
job here is only to determine if it will affect the wetland. These
Yeah.
are very real practical considerations that have to be dealt with. but
well,
That's
That's not our
something,
job.
Well, I feel strongly enough about it that maybe at the next meeting I sit over there instead of here. Because I've done this, I've been in this racket a long time trying to
I
maneuver
don't,
boats
I don't
around.
disagree with you, but I think that's something you should go to the selectmen to have to deal with.
And
If I could say something?
Of course.
I certainly appreciate your concern. We're trying to advocate for the people of Westport to continue to use the river. And at the moment, this is the best we've come up with. I will say that this is, on some level, not necessarily something you're stuck with forever. If something dramatically changes with the Masons, certainly what we do here could continue to be just an entrance, and there could be an exit somewhere else. Or if the town comes up with an extra $300,000 to build a second ramp and lose 5 more trailer spaces, something different could be done. We have looked at this in a number of different ways, and I'd be happy to have your reaction to the.
I mean, I think you get a sense for how I'm gonna vote on this, right? And I will always prefer to do a continuation to give people a chance to sort things out. But if these guys, my colleagues may feel differently, we all have a vote.
Yeah.
Is there any dialogue with the Masons at all? Is there,
For about 14 months,
so,
with their attorney, with them.
if,
I've been to a couple of meetings.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say this, if you decide to vote it down, you're gonna have what you had last year. At least if you vote for it, you'll have somewhat of an improvement. It's not gonna be ideal, but you'll have somewhat of an improvement, so, I mean, you can do what you wanna do, I'm just giving you my opinion that voting it down is not necessarily the answer.
We are under a time crunch, and it's already potentially too late to get this work done this spring, so we have another more dangerous situation if this doesn't get done. So at that point, it's,
All right.
it's not on me.
I mean, I think public safety is gonna squash it anyway, so I'm confident that it's not gonna pass muster once they really take a look at how the traffic flow is gonna work, but it's not within our
This
purview.
project may not get done in time for the summer then, at this point?
The widening may, the overall project in general was designed for
Just never
ADA, it may never get funded, although
Oh,
the Seaport Bond Bill did pay for this design avenue that Jeff has undergone with the landing commission.
But are we looking at, and again, this is not within our purview, but I think it affects enough people in town where we can devote a little bit of time to this tonight. Are we taking state money to improve that ramp? Because if you take money from the Commonwealth, it's open to all tax-paying residents of the Commonwealth. That's the reason that ramp has not been well-maintained. Once you take the state money, which they'd be happy to give us, and rebuild that ramp, but then it's open to the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts and not just Westport.
My understanding is that it depends on what kind of state money you take. And my understanding is, and what we've done so far, is that this will continue to be parking only for people with permits from Westport. Any ramp anywhere in Massachusetts that accesses the Commonwealth, anyone can back their boat down that ramp. They just can't park there.
Correct.
So, we're not intending to take any money that compromises the people's, the Westport ability to use it. But people should also appreciate that the existing ramp is halfway failed at this point. If the last section of it fails and falls into the river, then you will only be able to go in at high tide, very high tide, and to fix that is another $100,000+ to drag the cement slab out of the river. So it's a little time sensitive.
No one would dispute the need to repair that ramp. It's just who we take money from to do it. That's the only reason it hasn't been done already. You know, it would have been done a long time ago, except, you know, you forfeit use of the lot.
Different kinds of state money.
Yeah, okay.
But this will not just be state money, this will be all kinds of money.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor from Jason to continue. Do we have a second for that motion?
Can I have a point of order? And ask Chris. Yeah, I thought it was our
To
understanding
vote it up or down?
that the commission cannot make a motion
We
to
have-
continue.
We have to vote up or down.
Hmm?
We have to vote up or down. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
exactly. We have to vote it up and down. It's,
All right.
We don't have the right to vote to continue.
Unless the applicant
Unless
asks.
the
But yeah,
applicant requires it.
Well, we can suggest it. He can accept
I
it or
know,
not.
right.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Not in the form of a motion. You can ask him
Okay,
if he's willing to make the motion.
Okay, so if I made that
But if not,
motion,
we're gonna have to vote it up or down.
yeah, would you be willing to allow us to continue it, in which case we would continue it 2 weeks and just not vote on it, or we can vote on it.
As I said before, I think it's a mistake to continue it because it makes the work less likely to happen.
Okay.
All right, do we have another motion? Do we have a motion? Either way, somebody?
Well, in the interest of moving to a vote, I would, and based on the fact that, on Chris's report, to give it a negative box two from a wetlands perspective, I would, I would vote to issue a negative box two with the conditions of erosion controls being installed and maintained.
All right, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
All right, opposed?
Opposed.
So it's 3 opposed?
Yeah.
Tom, what do you?
Aye.
Okay, I want, are you approving it?
I approve.
Okay, so it's 4 people, so it passes, it's,
4 to 3.
yeah, against it is, Jason, Jake, and Kevin. And negative, yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes by, me, Bill, Bert,
And Tom.
and Tom.
And Chair.
So,
You can, I mean,
Still
you
vote,
can,
or
you can still sign it, yeah,
Yeah.
at this point. All right, you're all set, Jeff. You can see Chris for your paperwork, I don't know, tomorrow maybe.
You don't have to.
Railroad Park Realty Trust, ANRAD, 0 Highland Ave, 0 Maple Street, 0 Railroad Park, 0 Railroad Park Annex, to determine if resource areas depicted on the plan are accurate.
Well, I don't think,
No, he signed it, but I didn't. Okay.
Do we have green cards for this, Chris?
Yes,
Oh,
all
good,
green
okay.
cards have been given
All right,
for
I
the
see.
next two, Mr. Chairman.
I see, okay, thank you.
Paul,
To approve is me,
Phil,
Phil, Bert,
and Tom.
how you doing?
Hi, pretty good. Good evening, Matt Pike with Southwest Engineering, here on behalf of the applicant. The intent of this plan is to provide a graphical representation of the resource areas within the site. So the site's located on the west side of Highland Ave, just north of I-195. Site contains several lots within map 50 and map 10. So in regards to the resources, the wetlands were delineated and located by Southwest Engineering in August of 2023. Sheet 1 contains several wetland lines, series 200, 300, 600, 700, 400, and 500. And sheet 2 contains series 100, and so sheet 2 is the southern portion of the lot. Sheet 1 is the northern portion of the lot. So these lines were later reviewed by the Westport Conservation Agent, and at which time suggested a change to line 600. That change was recommended and shown on the plans here. And that's really that in a nutshell. So I'll turn it over to the Commissioner.
All right, thank you. Chris?
Mr. Chairman, for the record, and for people that are in the audience, there's no work proposed with this application. This is specifically just a request to determine the resource areas on the property. So we have no idea what is proposed with this property at this time, just for the record. This is Railroad Park Realty Trust, 0 Highland Ave. 0 Highland Ave indicating that it's made up of small parcels as well as a larger parcel, surrounded by, as you can see here, some individually owned parcels within this approximately 100.
This portion is 60. There's another portion that's south of the railroad that's not included.
Okay, thank you. So, 0 Highland Ave, this abbreviated notice of resource area delineation with South Coast Engineering and Matt Pike here tonight. The date of the report is April 10th, 2025. We do have a file number, Mr. Chairman. It's
SC 80 2793.
2793. Thank you. Site visit was also on April 9th, 2025 with the representative. Detailed description of the work: the applicant has recently acquired a large group of parcels that exist in the wooded area beyond the existing lots on Highland Ave. The property does have frontage on Highland Ave in 2 locations. The wetlands have been flagged in the field within the properties owned by the applicant. The wetland lines were walked and the applicant's representative on April 9th, 2025. The wetland flags were mostly accurate as they are shown with a few minor flag adjustments in that 600 series. These changes have been provided on the revised plan before the commission. No work is proposed, only to determine the resource areas on the property. The site also does not contain any estimated habitat or certified vernal pools. A physical boundary of this property is Route 195, so the property is kind of trapped against the old highway. And the railroad park definition or name comes from the origin of that development in the early times of Westport that extended over towards Route 6. Recommendations for the board: the Westport Conservation Commission should approve for the file number SE802793 and issue an order of resource area delineation approving the resource areas as shown on the revised plan dated 4/9/2025. And that would be 100 series, 200 series, 300 series, 400 series, 500 series, 600 series, and 700 series. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right, do you have any questions?
I do not.
All right. Does anyone in the audience have a question?
I have a question.
You can come stand up here, sir. Just say your name for us, and you can ask your question. And just to remind everybody, this is only to depict what wetlands are on the property, so they can now go back and make a plan on what, if anything, is usable there. So we have no idea what's going to happen there right now. That'll be the next set of plans.
Yeah, my name is Russ Viveris. I do live on Highland Avenue. I'm just wondering, you said there's access to this on Highland Avenue. Whereabouts is it?
There's one lot right there, and then the main section there. So Bentley Lane does not own that land that is previously cleared.
Okay, so what is this lot? You said this lot here, I don't know what that is.
What address
It's
is that?
vacant, there's no address, it's vacant land on the other
Okay.
side of the gas line.
On the other side of the gas line, meaning the north side or the south side?
South side.
South side of the gas line.
Yep, the existing residence is right on the side of the gas line, right? The
Yeah.
easement is just on the opposing side.
So there's existing access. from
Here at
here,
Bentley Lane, right?
Here as well, and here as well.
Also there's three.
3 access points.
All right.
And then these are developed lots, Costa, 492 Highland Ave, Trust, and then these lots, as you mentioned, interior lots that are
That are owned by.
owned by others.
I thought there was 2 access.
The answer
There's
to my
3.
question, thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome, sir. Anybody else have a question? You come on up here, sir. You can just state your name for us, and you can ask the question, please.
Can we bring him a mic?
Can you? I don't have a mic. You want to? You can ask it from back there.
Yeah, you
sir.
said it.
My name is Dave D'Souza, I live at 460 Highland Avenue, and there's been a barrage of surveyors all up and on trespassing on our land, and actually cutting shrubbery and stuff that's not on their land, it's on my land, and that can't be replaced. But with this, there'll be another barrage of many people to come back there, also trespassing, not recognizing the no trespass signs. I think as they say, the surveyors, they have the right to trespass on people's land. So I respect them to respect my property lines and not trespass on my land. I have cameras back there, and numerous times I've been back there. And to, to see who's been on my land, it's been surveyors, and they're way off the property line. Okay?
All right.
They're lost. They have GPSs, they're lost. And so when they cut a clear line, just recently, they've been back there surveying, they cut a clear line from the gas line all the way to almost the railroad track. It's about as wide enough to get a Jeep down through there, and some of it's on my property. So I didn't appreciate that. And when you say there's 3 accesses, I want to know between what addresses. between 460, 490. 3 spots on the road doesn't mean anything to me because that could be 3 empty spots. There's a lot of woods on that road. I don't know what 3 empty spots are. Is it between 460, 420,
that'll-
485? There should be something to tell us where those spots.
As far as the access points, once they develop, or once they put a plan to develop that, then they're gonna have to show how they're gonna get to the developed lots, and that'll all be in a much more detailed plan.
Well, what's their property now? There's no three entrances or 3 exit points. Where do those fall?
Well, they just read them
And
off.
they're just showing me spots on the map. I need to know addresses, so when
Well-
I drive down the road, I can say, okay, this is 490, this is the spot.
Can you let me talk?
Excuse me?
Can you let me talk?
Well, I'm trying to finish my question.
Okay, well, you asked the question what the addresses are.
Yes.
He read the 2 addresses, one's a realty. Can you read those 2 addresses again, please?
So this address here is 504, and you're 492.
So that's one of the spots.
And on either side of those 2.
On either side.
504 and 492. I already
That's one
decided,
spot.
there's
No,
there's
there's
3 in between. So
one on each side of those 2 lots. So there's 3 entrances, one on either side of those lots.
Where's the third one?
So one to the north of 504. One in between 492 and 504. One to the south of 492.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So they're all approximately really close together.
In
Within
reality,
the corner lot.
in reality, no. So they're 440 feet of frontage, 240 and 120. So they're pretty well spread apart.
That's less than a quarter mile.
All right. Anybody else have any more questions? And again, once they put a detailed plan together, they're gonna have to go to us and most likely planning
And notified.
and Board of Health and different people, and you'll all be notified again, and then you'll have the detailed plan of what they're gonna be doing, and at that point, you'll be able to see what the drainage is gonna be like and any other issues that you may have. But right now, this today is only to approve where the wetlands actually are.
Mr. Chairman, just before this meeting closes, I also, for the record, this property has considerable title issues. The people that purchased this, bought this property with title issues. It's not going to do anything to it till they clear title to the land. So they bought this with the hopes of getting that title cleared. The Messier family acquired a lot of this land because it had title issues. So these people are willing to sit on it and see what they can make of it and follow through land court proceedings. So that probably would take up to 3 years in some respect. So that's just to give you a little history of the property at its present state. So this is not something that's gonna happen next week. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
And I would just add that nothing that Conservation Commission does can affect the title.
Correct.
That is,
Yeah.
we don't have any jurisdiction over title. Whatever we approve is subject to whatever the land court might decide as far as title goes.
Correct.
All right, any other questions? All right, that's being said, do we have a motion?
Okay, so I will move to approve the issuance of the ORAD as set out in the plan dated 4/9/25.
Second.
0 Highland Avenue.
Is that you?
Kevin.
All right, second from Kevin. All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Jake opposes. All right, thank you. Moving forward, we have James Milky and Kathy Jo Martin, notice of intent, 88A Hillcrest Acres, construct single-family dwelling with appurtenance in the front, in the riverfront area, buffer zone and VE zone, and replace existing septic tank in the coastal bank. Anybody here representing them?
I think do you want, we can't talk about like the merits of the project, but if you want clarification about how we, look,
You have a
I'm
question?
just curious, most of everybody approved except that guy right here, he did not, I would like to know the reason why.
Well, you could, I mean, you may want to, I mean,
I don't know if that's something I can ask.
well, I mean, it's probably not appropriate during the middle of the meeting, but he's a selectman, so you can probably contact him, and that would be a good idea to ask. You can ask him why he didn't vote for it. He's your newest selectman, by the way,
And the name is?
Jake.
Jake McQuiggan.
So, You can maybe email them or something, or through the town, I'm not sure. If you wanna give me a number or whatever, privately.
Good, Mr. Pike.
Good evening. Matt Pike again on behalf of the applicant. So this is notice of intent.
You wanna go
on
talk to him, you
behalf
can,
of, James
You wanna go
Milky
talk to him,
and
you
Kathy.
can. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. Kathy Jo Martin, and it's for the reconstruction of the house located at 88 Hillcrest. So the property is at the west side of Hillcrest, but does not have frontage on the Westport River. The land, so this land is separated by the Westport River by this land here. Identified as map 72 lot 1AB. So on the locust property for resources, we have a river zone. Nearly the entire lot's within the 100-foot zone. A coastal bank in a V zone, elevation 16. There's an existing house in this parcel prior to the demolition. Excuse me, there was an existing house in this parcel. And prior to the demolition, request for zone variance was submitted to the Westport ZBA. Determination was made that since the new house would be on the same footprint, same size, variance was not required. That determination was provided with this submittal. And so now it's the owner's intent to build a new house, that's shown here. And that'll be in conformance to the current building code in relation to the velocity zone. And the new house would be on piles, and the lowest horizontal structural number would be at elevation 20.5, which exceeds the minimum requirement of 2-foot freeboard from the flood elevation to the lowest horizontal structural member. In addition to that, the owners are also installing a denitrification tank, as I understand on the report, to replace the existing tank. And that submittal has been forwarded to the Board of Health. In addition to that, roof runoff will be charged by Coltech infiltrators, as shown on the plan here. We have 2 Coltech systems. The structural plans have also been submitted on a separate cover to the commission, and those have also been reviewed by the agent. The work of the coastal banks limited to grading around the new tank. The work at the new house is limited to the installation of the piles. So the new house is predominantly in the 100-foot riparian zone, but as previously stated, the footprint's elevated to bring the structure to conformance with the current building code. Lastly, regarding the riverfront, an alternative analysis has been prepared and submitted to the NOI. And with that, I'll turn it over to the commission.
All right, thanks. Chris?
Mr. Chairman, James Milky and Kathy Jo Martin, 88A Hillcrest Acres. This is a notice of intent application filed by South Coast Engineering with Matt Pike representing. Report date is April 11, 2025. File number for this project is SE802794 with no adverse comments. The site visit was also on April 10, 2025. The owner has filed to replace the home with a new structure elevated above the VE or velocity zone flood zone. The structure has been removed after the ZBA approved the new dwelling in the same footprint. The new home will require the installation of 18 concrete piles extending from concrete footings. The lowest floor member will be at elevation 20.5. As Matt mentioned, this is well above the 2-foot freeboard that's required. New construction would also require a new septic tank equipped with denitrification. This work is within the riverfront flood zone and buffer zone to the east branch of the river. The property does not extend to the river. It is actually separated by a privately owned property. Coastal Bank is shown on the site plan with the existing home constructed right along the edge of that existing bank. This coastal bank is a stable and actually within the existing lawn area. The coastal bank, in my opinion, is not acting as a vertical buffer, or is it subject to tidal action? So this bank is stable and not contributing even as a sediment source to the area. The proposed project will not affect the stability of the existing coastal bank. It must be, however, conditioned in the order per 310 CMR 10.303 that no coastal engineering structure, a revetment or a seawall shall be permitted on an eroding bank at any time in the future to protect the project allowed by this order of conditions. So that would be a condition on the order. FEMA regs, also, there was a concern, they were proposing or considering concrete underneath this structure. This plan represents gravel. I did speak on and review the FEMA regs. A slab could not be allowed underneath this structure, so it would have to remain gravel. The homeowners did ask that question, so I want it on the record. The FEMA regulations would not allow it because the lowest floor member would be that slab, and it would be considered below flood elevation. So therefore, you can't have anything tied to that structural component of that raised elevation. So therefore, gravel would be permissible. There's also roof drains that we've added to the project to try to give this some infiltration, which was lacking on the older project. Also with that, the homeowner is considering rain gardens with those infiltration units. So for the record, I'd like to have either infiltration or rain gardens be considered for that approval. So recommendations, the Westport Conservation Commission should approve the proposed elevated home on concrete piles with the conditions that follows. The stockpiled soil must be contained within the limit of work. No coastal engineering structure to be permitted in the future to protect this project allowed by this order. And no cement slab permitted at grade. Must be crushed stone. And lastly, infiltration basins or rain gardens can be utilized on the property. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
All right. So the elevation overall is gonna be 20.5 feet, but like how high is that above the actual ground, the ground itself? I don't know what the elevation of the site is. Just out of curiosity.
Approximately 13.
So 13 feet in the air?
Yeah. No, excuse me, so you're at 13.
Oh, you're at 13, about 7 feet, okay, all right. Anybody in the audience have a question? All right, table?
I have a, so there's a property in front of this property, correct?
Land trust, yes.
Other,
Yes, it's probably, I guess, in front and in back. So in front meaning towards the river or front?
yeah, closer to the river.
To the river, yes.
And how high are those piles? We have to have some fairly recent projects in that area, like what are some of the abutters elevations?
My understanding that the property to the west is undeveloped,
Yep.
and it's a,
And none of the other structures adjacent are on stilts. This will be one of the first ones in this area to be raised on
I
stilts.
mean, do they,
In Hillcrest.
so if they wanted to have the structure quite a bit lower, would it be permittable below 20 feet? I guess my point is, are they going 20 feet high to be compliant, or are they going 20 feet high so that they'll have a view? And,
They'll have a view if they went up 2 feet.
okay,
so you're at V16.
Yes, so you have to be,
So the bare minimum, it would be for the lowest horizontal member to be at 18.
okay, so 18 would be the minimum.
minimum.
Just
They're
right
at,
on.
yeah, so
Okay,
they gave a
okay.
little more freeboard, so they went to 20.
All right.
So they gave a little more, just, which,
Yeah, I mean, it's not trying to be a,
coastal resiliency, I think.
okay, okay. Not trying to be a hard, I just, like, that changes the character of the East Branch of the river when we have these, things going up that look like the Eiffel Tower, so.
Yes.
Right.
Like wind turbines?
Like wind turbines and houses that are probably built where they shouldn't be, but
Well, thankfully, it's only like 4 feet, 6 feet above the ground level.
it's.
Correct.
Yeah.
It may
yeah.
seem higher than it is, right.
My point was, I wasn't sure if there would be, if this was a preemptive strike to have that structure high enough so that if someone built in front of them, they wouldn't lose their view.
Isn't the water park in front of the land trust, you said?
Yes, it's privately owned by the Westport Land Trust, so it's never going to.
Okay.
Just to meet the requirements and give a little bit extra buffer.
Yeah, okay, no, that's,
Right.
okay.
Any other questions?
I would just suggest an additional condition of approval by the Board of Health.
10-4.
All right, so you're gonna add that, Chris?
Yeah, I have no
Okay.
problem with that condition.
All right, anybody
Seeing
else?
there is a septic tank involved.
Anybody else have a question? All right, if not, motion, please.
Okay, I'll go for 3. So I would move to approve the plan for construction of an elevated home and replacement of a septic tank for 88A Hillcrest Acres. subject to the conditions that the stockpiled soil must be contained within the limit of work. No engineering stuff should be permitted in the future to protect the project allowed. That there be gravel and not slab, or gravel or crushed stone and not slab, supporting the pillars, that there be infiltration or rain guards, and subject to Board of Health approval.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Second.
Was that Bert?
Yep.
All right. All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimously on.
Thank you.
Thank you. William Wicks, is that how you pronounce it, Wicks?
Correct.
William Wicks, notice of intent, 374 River Road, install 2 piles for floats for an existing licensed dock. Good evening, Sean. What? Yeah. He's got my eyes, I saw him.
All right, something easy, Sean, let's go.
Well, Sean's doing it, so it's not necessarily easy.
This is a very simple project.
Just wait.
What they all say.
Just wait.
This is a previous licensed dock and jetty and structures. They did a repair on the seawall a short time ago. Now they want to add a couple of pilings to stabilize the float structure. This float structure is the same footprint on the existing license plan. They're just adding 3 pilings here to stabilize it and basically stop it from what it used to be doing before, slapping back and forth along this side of the river. So they're just adding 3 pilings to the
2992. Is that
It has a file number of 0802792.
2792.
Thank you.
So Sean, I'm quick, I might have missed it, but is that, are you adding the pilings now, are you coming to us, or does the 91 already reflect those pilings? Or do you have to refile the 91 as an amendment?
We're going to finalize an amendment.
Okay.
We're not increasing the footprint on anything, we're just actually just adding piles.
For stability.
Right now, they had an anchor out on one side of the pipe, and it doesn't hold up, obviously.
Yeah, I would imagine not. All right. Are you good? All
I'm
set?
good.
Okay, Chris?
Mr. Chairman, this is William Wicks, 374 River Road. This is a notice of intent application filed by Northeast Engineers and Consultants. Sean Leach here representing. The report date is April 10th, 2025. File number for the project is SE802792. Agency is required to be contacted with the Chapter 91 Waterways Program. The site visit was on April 9th, 2025. Description of work: the owner has an existing licensed dock and seawall and is proposing to install 2 additional piles to hold the existing float. Float as designed is becoming stressed from the tide pulling on the float, as Sean mentioned. So these additional piles will be installed from a barge and we utilize to stabilize that float from twisting when the tide changes. Resource areas: this is land under the river, land containing shellfish. Recommendations for the 2 piles: the Westport Conservation should approve the request to install 2 additional piles into the west branch of the river for William Wicks, 374 River Road, for file number SC802792. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Question, Sean? Questions from the audience? Come on up here, sir. You can state your name if you don't mind. How are you?
Hi, George Gabriel. I'm actually one of the abutters. We have the new dock that was installed or remanufactured. Some of the issues we're having right now is a property land dispute. We've had several surveyors come in. We're waiting for one more final surveyor to come in. There are 2 attorneys involved in this project right now. One of them is coming down, I believe, tomorrow. The original surveyor, Mr. Sean Leach, is also coming down tomorrow. We have a new surveyor coming in from my attorney because there is a 2-foot offset questioning on the frontage and the side markers and property lines. There was also an encroachment put upon my property of about 4 feet. So the seawall was actually not built as a repair, the permit was pulled as a rebuild, and this is a total new construction, approximately doubling in size, which according, and again, I'm not professional on this, to section 404, that by wetlands, that this should have had some type of approval from the Army Corps of Engineers to be done in the first place, because it was such, so much above the size that it was. There was so much construction done. So my only asking of the council is that the discovery be done by the attorneys before anything gets approved any further, because there is a land dispute in this matter. There's 2 feet of property missing. We don't know if it's on the right side of the property. We don't know if it's on the left side of the property. So we are getting a third surveyor to come in and have the property surveyed again. Other than that, there's also, it's also pending, my attorney is also pending the damages, because the builder of the seawall encroached onto my property, damaging my property, tore part of my seawall, tore my stairs, took out a fence, and miscellaneous other damages to concrete that had seawalls. So basically, I'm not here really to say no, don't do this project, or to do it. I'm asking just to put a hold on it until the attorneys sort this out, and that's it.
So, and this is, let me question Sean, this is all done, right? The seawalls, everything's done?
Yes, everything's been constructed, including the jetty.
When was it all done?
What's that?
When was it done?
Last fall. I don't know when the exact end date was.
Yeah, it finished before the end of the year.
And we approved it originally, the project originally?
Yes, we approved the project, it was all permitted, correct. And the land dispute came up after. So
Disputed line that we're talking about, this one here.
it has no relevance to the dock.
Oh, the dock is on the north side of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the relevance is there is actually 2 feet of my property missing. Now, whether it be on the south side of my property or the right side or the north side of the property, I cannot answer that question, and that's why I've hired another surveyor to come in and check this. But the encroachment onto my side and the seawall was definitely built onto my property.
Right.
And there are other encroachments on my property. In fact, I have a letter that I was served within the last week by Attorney Kelly, I guess he's local in town. And they are going to claim some eminent domain and push this forward. So again, I'm just looking to clarify everything before we proceed.
I'm just gonna say those 2 pilings, the dock's already there, those 2 pilings, and where the dock is now, if there's any issue where the seawall is not in the right place or was overbuilt, that would be something you should report to Waterways for the state, the DEP. Because this needs to come down and get inspected. Has this been inspected by Waterways yet? For the 91?
No, we haven't asked for certificate of compliance. Mr. Gabriel is referring to the installer did go over the line a little bit to tie in the 2 seawalls.
No, I know that, but he also said that the jetty was built too big, or bigger than it should have been, and should have needed, I mean, that's all
The
issues.
seawall itself
Yeah.
was reconstructed.
No, I understand that,
That
but
was all, everything was
that's,
approved initially on the initial license back in '93.
right, but that all needs to get a certificate of compliance from the state, from the Waterways.
Right.
So if you have any kind of concern about the jetty, the seawall, or anything like that not being built to spec or too big or whatever the case, that has to be inspected by the state, which is the Waterways up in, where is it, Lakeville?
Yes.
Lakeville. That would be, you would send them a letter expressing that, because they will have to come down and inspect this and let them know that you believe, I mean, they're not gonna get involved with the property line dispute or anything like that, to be honest with you, but if you believe that it's been not built to the specifications of the plan that the state approved, because ultimately it gets approved by the state, then that would be the place to look for that. But as far as the land dispute and the 2 pilings, I mean, I personally don't think it really has any bearing on it. I think if there is an issue, whether it's with the overbuilding of the project, then that's an issue for the Chapter 91 Waterways license. That's my opinion.
Well, like I said, I'm just concerned concerned on, you know,
I don't blame you, it's your property, I mean, you need to get that straightened out, and you have every right
I mean,
to.
if it was 6 inches, honestly, I really
Right.
it wouldn't matter to me, but I mean, it was way overbuilt onto my property, and
Yeah.
it was destruction and damages caused by it, so the true property lines still are not there. Even the plan that was submitted to the state did not have any surveyor marks on it. There was, which as I am to understand, plans that are submitted should be surveyed before they are submitted and should have actual measurements on it. And the plan that is on file with the town has no measurements on it. And I have original pictures also for the dock, and I understand that part goes to the waterways,
Right.
section 91. But again, I'm not disputing, I'm more concerned about the attorneys settling the land dispute. And at that point, I would have no concerns at all. I mean,
All right, I appreciate your comments, but I would certainly take your concerns up at 91, chapter 91 waterways in Lakeville. All right. Any other questions from the audience? All right, thank you. All right, any questions from the table? All right, need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve pending the file.
No, we have the file number, don't we? Yeah, we have that.
Yeah.
2792, yeah, it came in.
Second it.
All right, that was Tom and Burke. All in favor? Opposed? All right. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, it's been a hell of a night. All right. Peter and, I'm solving the, yeah. Peter and Barbara Humphreys, RDA, Lot 113, Macumber Lane, River Road and Ocoxit Road, construct single-family dwelling, advanced treatment septic system, well, driveway, stormwater infiltration system, associated grading, and landscaping in the flood zone. It's a mouthful. This is supposed to be an easy night.
We lost our crowd.
I know. So I should have.
Valerie, you need to go out and hire some people to come sit in the audience.
We had a great crowd before.
So when I gave him an opportunity to clarify, that should have gone through the chair, so I overstepped my bounds.
That's fine. I'm used to you overstepping your bounds.
The chair said, told me I could excuse myself.
Yeah, exactly, he gave you a ball pass. Okay. Just trying to go by the rules.
In case you're a little parched.
Listen, I try to be as accommodating as possible.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Bill Smith from Civil Engineering Concepts. Property is owned by Peter and Barbara Humphrey. It's located at 0 Macumber Lane. It's also bordered by Coxit Road, which turns into River Road. At this point, it's lawn right now. It's not in any resource area. It is within a flood zone. It's in an AE 17 flood zone. So we'd like to build a single-family dwelling, advanced denitrification septic system, well, driveway, and the associated infrastructure to go along with that. We've got, again, an advanced treatment septic system, pervious driveway coming in, rain garden detention basin over here for the increased runoff from the new impervious surfaces. Again, this portion of the property is within the AE 17 flood zone, and we've constructed it so that the lowest habitable floor is at elevation, main house would be at elevation 20, and so that we're well above that. Grades on the property now, we've got a 16 over in this corner, it goes down to an 11 down in this corner, pitching generally northeast to southwest. It's before the Board of Health right now for their approval. It had been previously approved when it was owned by Sally Brayton, and they sold the property last year. The Brayton application was before the Conservation Commission around 2017, and it was okay. So this is similar. House has changed a little bit, but essentially it's the same general issues.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Chris?
Mr. Chairman, members, Peter and Barbara Humphrey, Macumber Lane, 0 0 Macomb Lane, 0 River Road, as it kind of touches both areas. This is a request for determination of applicability filed by Civil Engineering Concepts with Bill Smith representing. The report date is April 7th, 2025. I put Board of Health approved, but I thought it's previously Board of Health approved. So that's kind of somewhat what I was thinking. Site visit was also on April 7th, 2025. Description of the work: the owner has filed to construct a single-family home, septic well, and grading in a flood zone. The lot is located across the roadway from house number 832 River Road. Lot is vacant and has frontage on Macomb Lane and River Road. The work is within an A zone, as Bill mentioned, will not have any adverse effects to the neighboring properties as designed. There was a previous determination, negative determination issued on file, but it has expired. As Bill mentioned, the lot has changed hands. So recommendations for the board tonight: the Westport Conservation Commission should issue a negative box 2 determination for the single-family home in the flood zone, pending Board of Health.
Thank you. Any questions, Bill? No. Okay. Questions from the table? If no questions, a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Wow. The dynamic duo strikes. All in favor? Opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Billy.
I just didn't want to be a curmudgeon.
The whole night, just only part of the night?
Yeah. I got my curmudgeon on early.
I mean,
now I'm
Phil needed to drink a whole bottle of water to make all the motions. His mouth was so dry.
He's getting parched down there.
Poor Phil.
Water, I should have. I'm sorry, Phil.
What's that?
I got Leon water. I should have got yours.
All right. What the hell is
Phil
that?
dug into like the Rogers rules of whatever.
All right, Caroline.
That's good.
Can't stand the silence, you know?
Caroline Conway, certificate of compliance, SE 8340, 136 Cadman's Neck Road. That's an oldie.
Caroline Conway, Mr. Chairman, 136 Cadman's Neck Road. This is a request for a certificate of compliance. The report is April 9th, 2025. This is an extremely old file number from 1986. It's SE 80340. Originally went under a Faust, who was a previous owner to this property. The report date, the site visit was on April 8th, 2025. The current owner has found an outstanding order of conditions, SC 80340, still recorded at the Registry of Deeds. They are selling and need a certificate of compliance for this very old filing dating back to 1986. So Westport recommendations: Westport Conservation should issue a certificate of compliance for work conducted in 1986, file number SE 80340, with a full release of the certificate of compliance.
Do you have a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor? That was Jake and Jason. So you're all welcome. All right, big night tonight, Tom. Big night, buddy.
Yeah.
June 11th minutes. June 11th. No.
June 11th meeting.
He's here at 10 o'clock. I don't know.
Yeah. We need to see him again after this.
June of
Tom,
2000.
Tom, you probably be quiet.
You live.
All right, I'm gonna get to that first in case,
Let's get those minutes.
in case he tries to skip out on us. All right,
Bubble wrap him. Don't let him get hurt.
we get the dust off there. All right, minutes from June 11th, 2024.
That's it, June.
Yeah, 2024. Present for the commission were myself, Mr. Powell, Mr. McGuigan, and Thomas Merchant.
Clear it.
Fabulous.
I had a few questions about a hearing that I would just like some clarification on.
Could you edit those minutes?
Do we have a motion to approve? Motion to approve, Jason?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Tom makes
I'll
it.
second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that's unanimously on.
Clear.
Val's even happy.
Val, you can have the brownie.
8 months in the minute.
I'll see you next summer.
All right, March 4th, 25 meetings. Present for the commission were myself, Mr. McGuigan, Mr. Weinberg, Mr. Bryan. Oh, look, we're all here, see that? So we have a motion to approve those minutes from March 4th, please.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's amazing. All right. Let's make sure I put my title, okay.
What's the other what date it was, 2024?
Yeah.
No, yeah, 24. Yeah. Let's see, so we have, February 4th, 2025. Present were Jake, Kevin, Jason, and Phil.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor, opposed? Oh, look, you get to sign something, Jason.
All right. That was a smooth meeting. We had real leadership that night.
Yeah, just. All right.
I notice you don't post that on Facebook.
9/17/24. Another oldie but a goodie. Present were Jake, Jason, Burton, and Thomas. Merchant. Wow, you've been the linchpin for a while, Tom.
Tommy.
Yeah.
So we have a motion to approve.
Go ahead, Tom. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? I mean, okay, that's nobody opposed, okay.
You realize we get paid $0 per hour, so you're missing out on a lot of money by not being there.
All right.
Watches us at home.
Leon said she's gonna split overtime with us, don't worry about it. All right, we have, what is this? Supplies from, what was this?
Forestry supply.
Oh, forestry supply, okay. A total of 70, let me get this right, $78.58.
Flagging.
Okay, flagging tape, 78.58, need a motion to approve. All right, all in favor, opposed? All right, beautiful. We have no more forestry supplies. Is it the same bill?
You wanna see it back?
No.
I probably got it in the mail in
Just-
It's 78.58.
Yeah, it's the same, let me just make sure it's the same bill, hold on. Yeah, one's an email, one's an actual invoice, so order 670-300. That's why they pay me the big bucks, Leon, to catch these clerical mistakes.
Save the town.
This is like, I'm like Doge of conservation.
Isn't that
Yeah,
the same as
it's the same one.
resident
Yeah.
fishing permit with a trout stamp? No, okay, just making sure. Just making sure.
All right, please, finish signing that, please. We're gonna bypass this one since it's due.
You know, stamp, I know.
Okay. Next, we have postmaster, $450 for stamps, for sending out all the beautiful mailings that we do. We have $250 in $5 stamps and $200 in $2 stamps. We have a motion to pay.
Motion to pay.
Motion from Jason, do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Tom. All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimously all. Okay, W.B. Mason, we have a $42 credit. Efficiency at its finest. And then we have East Bay Media, $246 for advertising for the hearings. For the hearings this evening, as a matter of fact. So I need a motion to pay.
Motion to pay.
Thank you. Okay, Kevin and Phil, all in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimously owned. Oh, one more minute, there we go. April 1st.
Fantastic.
It was opened by Chair, the Honorable Chair, esteemed Chair, Paul Jonkis. Present were myself, Jacob, Jason, and Burton. So we have a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. You know, so I said honorable and esteemed.
You did. Yeah.
That was Jake and
Jason.
Jake and Jason.
Motion.
The honorable, highly esteemed vice chair. All right, so I think that concludes my meeting for the night, but Chris, what do we have this evening?
I have nothing for you, Mr.
All right.
Chairman.
Phil, do you have any tidbits from the Board of Health you want to share with us?
No, I've been away for a while, so I don't know what's going on.
Beautiful.
All right.
He's in another land.
All right, well, if that's the case, we're looking for a motion to adjourn then.
Motion adjourned.
Second from Burr, all in favor? Opposed? That's unanimously on. Thank you, everybody, for attending.